welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com.
What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk or anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Noah Strackbein, joined every Tuesday and Thursday by my main man in the party hat, Donnie Droon. Today, we got good and bad. We got a good rookie, maybe 2-3 good rookies, and a really bad inside linebacker. But as always, it's a beautiful day here in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. I am so ready to stop driving an hour and a half both ways to work, but it's been a blast, and I think I'm a little sad to see it go at the end of the week. How you feeling, my friend?
Feeling great. Reporting live from northern Phoenix, Arizona. 101 out today. We had some rain the last week, so it brought the temperature down. Dude, it was like 73 the other night. Sat back on the father-in-law's patio. Phenomenal. Super great. That lasted probably a minute. But here we are back in the triple digits. But you know what?
What happened in a minute? What happened within that minute?
I was just saying, like, it was just like there, like it came and gone super fast.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. It's rained every single day since I've been here. Every single day since I've been here, it's rained. And somehow it's been hotter after, which makes sense. Hotter after the rain. I've gone through about 12 polos. So I went my butt off here. But I'm all about it.
Real question. Because we haven't even talked since the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Seattle Seahawks in the preseason. The most watched preseason game the last 7 years on NFL Network, by the way. Steelers Seahawks.
Dude, obviously. Obviously. It was the best. It was the most exciting preseason game of all time.
Are the Pittsburgh Steelers winning the Super Bowl?
No,
Bro.
They're not winning the Super Bowl.
Bro.
You're already froze. You want to know why you froze? Because they're not winning the Super Bowl. But this is a great way to start it off. Our boy, Kenny Pickett, will be the starter for week 1 through the bye week, and Mitch Trubisky will be the starter through the bye week through week 17. Let's switch that one up. Do you think Kenny Pickett at all takes over the starting job this season? This is a red-hot way to start.
Yeah, right off the bat, too. I do think he will find himself starting one game. I do. I don't know when. Because a lot of people subscribe to the theory that Mitch is going to start week 1 and then Kenny will just eventually take over for that. I think in my eyes, it's maybe the more likely theory. Also, like Kenny starting week 1 and Mitch taking over also probably isn't out of the realm either. But I still do think they would rather give Mitch the keys to the car at the beginning of the season rather than Kenny Pickett. And then we've talked about it a bunch of times. I would rather, if for whatever reason Trubisky isn't playing well, that probably means the Steelers are not in playoff contention. So why not give Kenny Pickett X amount of games at the end of the year to do what he needs to do and then get that NFL experience and then kind of build himself into a full-time starter moving into year number 2.
So I don't think that there's any possibility Kenny starts week 1. I think it's determined. It is Mitch Trubisky's job. I don't even think this is a real competition anymore. But I do think that it's been solidified that Kenny is the number 2. And because of that, that means that if Mitch, for some reason, isn't the answer, Kenny, I believe, will now surpass Mason. A week ago, I didn't think that. I thought they would look at it and say, is Kenny ready? If he's not ready, Mason Rudolph gets the job. Now I'm looking at it like maybe these Detroit Lion rumors about Mason Rudolph having interest in Detroit are real because the Steelers, who I've heard want a ridiculous asking price for Mason, ridiculous. Do I know the number I've heard for Mason Rudolph? A third minimum. They want a 3rd-round pick for him. Not happening.
Start high. Yeah, you have to negotiate probably like that, the middle spot right there. So sure, I get it. They're not getting a 3rd for him, but like
they're not getting a 3rd.
Got to set the bar.
I say that after Saturday, Mason has totally removed himself from this competition. I don't think that's Mason's fault. I just think Mitch played well. Kenny played well. I thought Mason played well too. but there was a difference, and all you needed was Kenny to say, "Hey, I'm pretty ready," and we saw that. And I think that at this point moving forward, that's just what it is.
So you were actually there at Acrisure Stadium, dude. That, like, at least watching it did not feel like a preseason game.
Dude, it did not. But the craziest part was the end of it was so dramatic, but felt so undramatic. Like, it ended and you were just like, wow, there's 4 seconds left on the clock. Huh? Like, that's crazy. It was so slow motion. It was it was pretty, I don't know. Like, it was so eventful, but just so nonchalant, I feel like. I don't know.
Dude, that was probably the only preseason game I've ever watched where, like, the quarterback play for one team start to finish was, like, not terrible, you know? Because kind of like what you already said. I feel like Mitch, Mason, and Pickett all did, like, decently good things throughout their time on the field. And so, like, I was thinking of, like, takeaways to, like, bring to the podcast today. And I just don't think there's anything, like, super, like, negatives you can really bring on any of those guys after watching them. Granted, first preseason game, played in very limited action against probably not starting caliber competition.
Definitely not about it. I hate that argument, though. Oh, he played against third stringers. Like, yeah, okay, well, he's playing with third stringers. It wasn't like his offensive line was atrocious. Half of them got cut today. He had nobody to throw the ball to. And Master Teague was his running back. Like, it wasn't the best situation for him. How about this take? Starting Kenny now, and if he struggles would ruin him, go with the vet first. I mean, I agree with that. I think that the perfect situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now is to rock with Mitchell Trubisky and let him carry it on, because that takes away so much pressure for Kenny Pickett. At this point, you could walk into the season, and once week 1 starts, as long as Mitch Trubisky doesn't play terribly, that conversation of Kenny Pickett will fade into nothing. And at that point, all you have to do is just say, okay, let's focus on Mitch. Let's focus on developing this team. Anybody and the Kenny Pickett story just moves away. Lets him develop as an NFL quarterback. I love that. I think that's the perfect situation. I felt that the whole time.
Sure. I think you never want to go into, like, a situation to where, like, your starting quarterback can possibly rotate every week, because, like, you know the old saying, right? Like, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks, you know? So, like, if you're much, much better, like, sitting a, like, solidified starter at the quarterback position. And then if just, like, things go drastically downhill, then of course you pull the trigger and make a change. But man, like, if they're not going to do it because it's the Steelers, it's Mike Tomlin. It's just, like, it's not a good way to go about things. But can you imagine just, like, musical chairs between, like, Mason, Kenny Pickett, and, like, Mitch Trubisky every week?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Right? Like, it's just,
I'm
like,
tired
it's
of
so,
it now.
like,
I'm tired of it right now. I think at this point, it's just, like, I'm ready for it to be over. I'm excited of what Kenny's doing, but I'm ready for actual football to start so we can stop talking about a hypothetical quarterback competition that never existed in the first place.
Exactly what's going to happen, though. Like, anytime Mitch does not have a great game,
throws one interception and it'll be Kenny Pickett.
Steelers fans booed Mason Rudolph when he took the field.
Which is terrible. Terrible.
He should be giving the Devin Bush interviews, not him.
Yeah, yeah. You want to talk about Devin Bush being mad for Mason Rudolph? If I was Mason Rudolph, I wouldn't even have showed up on Monday. I would have been like, I'm done, man. Send me to Detroit.
Trade
this place sucks. Yeah, like they hate me, I hate them. Another question here: Should the Steelers get JJ Watt to the Steelers? I mean, I think the Steelers lucked out with Larry Ogunjobi, but the second half of that, will TJ Watt break Michael Strahan's record? I think I'm the lone wolf that says yes. Everybody says it's impossible to get 20 sack seasons 2 years in a row. All right. We'll see what happens, but I don't know. If you haven't watched the Pivot podcast with TJ Watt and him talking about, or maybe it's I Am Athlete, it's one of those two, where he talks about JJ Watt's dominance. I love that take. So
that was a good one, because, like, Ryan Clark at the Pivot podcast went to Steelers camp, and then they talked to TJ to talk to Najee, which was also a really good interview. And then my man Noah, a short cameo at the very beginning of the video before they actually sat down and did the interviews.
I did make a cameo. I think I have to screenshot that one because it's a bad picture of me. I think most pictures of me. Now you got to catch me like if you catch me in the back of an interview anywhere, this is how I'm looking. Just like a complete idiot back there. I'm loving it. I do have to say, shout out to everybody that's been at camp that's like told me how much they love the podcast, the whole nine, because out here, not only am I getting caught looking like a complete dummy in the back of big podcasts, but people are letting us know how much they love this one. And I really appreciate all of you guys for real. Sticking with the quarterback before we're going to talk Devin Bush. We got a lot to talk about Devin Bush. And we also are giving away a Minka Fitzpatrick jersey today. So, exciting stuff. Mason Rudolph to the Lions. Andrew Filipponi reported it the other day. You got to take that with a grain of salt. Like I said, they're asking for a third. That's what I've heard. Do you think at this point there's real conversations that Mason could go?
Maybe. Omar Khan went on the Pat McAfee show today and said he doesn't have any intentions of trading in quarterbacks. When obviously, if you're a general manager, you're not going to come out and what's at least viewed in the public as an open quarterback competition and say, "Hey, we'll trade one of these guys. Don't worry." I think if Mason continues to carry himself and play like he has, and through training camp in the first preseason game, there's got to be some value there. Like if a quarterback needy team, barring any injuries, like we saw with Zach Wilson in New York, they're going to want a veteran quarterback who has proven that they could win at the next level.
Yep.
Not consistently, but proven they could win.
Yep.
And I mean, if it's just depending on what the Steelers are willing to give away. I mean, you hear general managers talk about it all the time. They're not listening. They're not doing their jobs if they're ignoring offers and they're not listening to other teams and talk about what they want to give up for him. I find it very hard any of these guys are going to be moved though.
See, I did find it very hard, but I think at this point, like, what's the point? I mean, I don't think it's going to happen until the first week of September. Let's say come the first week of September, you've agreed with the rest of everything else that Mitch Trubisky is your starter, Kenny Pickett is your number 2, and you're comfortable with Chris Oladokun sliding his way onto the practice squad. What's stopping you from saying, okay, let's ship him out of here for something, because teams are going to call. Like, I believe that the Detroit Lions have made a phone call to say, hey, is Mason available? I believe that has happened. I do. What does stop teams from doing that? I mean, it's not like Mason's a bad quarterback. He's not a starting quality quarterback. But if you're a team like the Lions, who just cuts their backup quarterback, so now they're looking for somebody, I don't know. I don't know what's stopping you from saying, well, Mason Rudolph is probably on the table.
Sure, but I think this boils down to the price point. Like, what are the Detroit Lions willing to pay? What are the Steelers willing to kind of negotiate down for themselves on? Because if we're talking about the Steelers initially wanting a third-round pick for him, if I'm Detroit, I'm telling them to go take a hike, where, and I'm trying to find a quarterback and somewhere else on another team.
What team? But where are you looking? There's a lot of quarterbacks out there. Yeah, if you're the Lions. If you're looking for a backup, there's a lot of backups out there, but how many are actually going to be up for a trade? How many teams are actually going to listen to you to say, okay, yeah, maybe we'll talk about this guy?
For a backup quarterback, I am sure you can find a backup quarterback in the NFL who can produce similar results and can do similar things on the football field like Mason Rudolph does for a much cheaper cost.
I don't agree with that. I think that it'd be very difficult. Where are you going to find a quarterback that has 17 games of NFL experience, a winning record?
There's 35-year-old quarterbacks out on 30-year-old quarterbacks out on the market just waiting to be signed. Like the pool, I don't think people understand the pool of veteran quarterbacks who have started maybe 10 or 16 games or maybe even a couple of years. Dude, the pool of guys waiting for another opportunity is limitless. You can find somebody else. I don't think they're trying to find anybody else that's going to try to unseat Jared Goff.
I don't think Mason's trying to unseat Jared Goff. I don't think they'd look at him like that.
Mason Rudolph's currently trying to put himself as a starting quarterback in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he is. And when that doesn't happen, that's what I mean. It's not going to come until September. So when it happens in September and he's not a starting quarterback, you can't walk into Detroit heading into week 1 and be the starter. That would never happen. So at that point, he's got to accept his role as the backup. And I think he will, because what's his other option? To be a third stringer here where everybody hates you? I think that if they did call, and if they continue to call, he's not stepping on anybody's toes. And he's probably one of the best options for a backup quarterback in the NFL. And on top of that, name a quarterback who is going to replicate a completely motionless Jared Goff like Mason Rudolph. He is the poor man's Jared Goff.
Mm.
He is.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
What's the difference between them? They can't run. Neither of them are mobile. Both of them pretty much.
Jared Goff took his team to a Super Bowl.
No, he did not.
Yes,
Sean McVay took his team to a Super Bowl. That's like saying Jimmy Garoppolo. Shanahan took, yeah. No, that was Sean McVay. He was on the Rams.
You're right.
That was Jimmy Garoppolo. That's like saying Jimmy Garoppolo took the 49ers to a Super Bowl. No, he did not. Aaron Donald took a team to a Super Bowl.
Really quick. 5 quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Andy Dalton,
Taylor's on a team,
Cam Newton. Is he?
You are not signing Cam Newton. Get that name out of
Colin Kaepernick.
You're not signing Colin Kaepernick. Get that name out of there too. Be realistic with these. Tyrod Taylor, I'll give you, but I'm pretty sure he's on a team. Andy Dalton, I will definitely give you. I think Andy Dalton's a good one.
Brock Osweiler, nice.
No. I don't think the options are out there. Ryan Fitzpatrick retired.
Mike Glennon, AJ McCarron.
AJ McCarron.
That's about it, to be honest. Yeah.
No, there's not. Yeah. See, it's not out there. It's not like Mason's expensive. It's not. Mason's $3 million. You could pay your backup quarterback $3 million. He's young, so he's going to learn an offense a lot easier than a guy like Andy Dalton's going to come in here and try to adapt to a new offense. Again, he is a poor man's Jared Goff, very average football player who can't do anything else. I think it works. I didn't think of Detroit. I think of Detroit now. I think he would fit in well as a number 2 there.
This is all coming from a report from Andrew Filipponi, who you said take with a grain of salt.
I do say take it with a grain of salt. Do I think it's actually going to happen? No, but I think that it's much more likely to happen now than it was 2 weeks ago.
But why?
Because there's no point in keeping them. Right now, the Steelers are trying to decide between 8 wide receivers, what 6 to keep. They have an undrafted running back who's fighting his butt off for a roster spot, who's probably worthy of one. You're going to keep 5 safeties, which has never happened in the history of football. You got 6 inside linebackers, like a dozen defensive linemen to pick through. I think why would you keep a third quarterback? That just doesn't, to be inactive. It's just like if you're going to make a roster spot, Mason Rudolph seems like a pretty easy choice to me.
All right.
Yeah, first 7. Right. I'm not saying you're getting a third for him, but I'm saying ditch his contract, give me 7th round pick, and hope for the best. Nobody goes into the season thinking, "Oh man, dude, what if our first 2 quarterbacks get hurt?" All right, well at that point your season's over. Yeah. So what you telling me Mason Rudolph's going to come in here and win the Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl? No. What's the difference? If your options are Mason Rudolph or Chris Oladokun, you tell me what the results are.
Mason Rudolph, obviously. Yeah. But
tell me what the difference of the wins and losses is. 3 games? 4 games?
I think we might be underselling Mason and overselling Oladokun at that point.
What would you, if Mason started a whole season, what would you say his record
don't do this to me right now.
What would it be?
Don't do this to me.
What would it be?
Less than 500.
So what's the difference? If you win 3 games
with Oladokun, you're getting a better draft pick there.
Exactly. like if your options are go 8-7 or 8-9 or 4-12, 4-13, I bet you everybody on this live stream right now would tell me
all 250 people.
Yeah, we'll go 4-13 any day. Give me a top 10 pick and let's move on. Easy. I just at that point Like, it's like the duck argument, like how Kabuli made the duck. And I was telling them that today. Like, oh, you don't want to fall into 2019. Yeah, well, you're gonna. If that's what, like, you're not getting Ben Roethlisberger isn't coming out of retirement to be like, oh, I'm going to save the day. You're not going with Mason Rudolph. It's not a good choice. It's not a good choice. I could just, I could see it happening. That being said, I'm trying to be nicer. So I'm not going to do that.
Clearly.
I'm not going to do that. All right. Before we dive into Devin Bush and everything here, I'm just scanning through to making sure we didn't miss any.
Oh, it's going crazy right now.
I know. I want to make sure we didn't miss any questions. I think everybody pretty much agrees that, the Pittsburgh Steelers would be screwed if that's what happened. That's all right. All right, we are going to talk about Devin Bush, but first, we got a word from our boys at Manscaped. Sack Summer. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're scaped from pubes to bum. That's right. This is the summer to keep your balls cool while still looking hot with Manscaped. The leader in below-the-belt grooming is making sure we all have a ball this summer by giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh. Dive headfirst into smooth sack summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with our code ALLSteelers. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Inside this package, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on-off switch that can engage a travel lock and gives you the ability to turn the 4,000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Did I mention this summer that it's waterproof too? Beach, lake, or shower, this razor will devour even the strongest pubes. Now that you have the perfect haircut, use Manscaped's liquid formulations to keep that freshness even at the hottest barbecues. Most importantly, use the Crop Preserver ball deodorant to stay cool in the heat. With a soothing aloe vera formula, it's the best in the business for below-the-waist freshness. And this clear, drying formula will keep looking good while smelling good. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed travel bag that will bring your comfort to another level. Wearing sandals with some nasty toenails during the summer months? Take a look at the Shears 2.0, a luxury nail grooming kit. This kit includes a stainless steel nail cutters, tweezers, and grooming scissors. With the Performance Package 4.0, your balls will be ready to impress, but make sure you're covered with the rest with the Shears 2.0. Get 20% off plus free shipping with our code Steelers20, not all Steelers, excuse me, Steelers20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code Steelers20 at manscaped.com. It's smooth sack summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind. All righty. I think the biggest thing to come out of today, easy, is First. Shout out to my boy Anthony. Best neighbor you could possibly ask for, actually. Has NFL Youngboy pulled any pranks at training camp? I have not heard of any yet. NFL Youngboy is George Pickens. Talked a big game for not pulling pranks, which is a little upsetting, but we'll let it be. He has been smoking. People beat Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think 3 out of 5 times today, and one-on-ones. It was very impressive. The kid is for real. He's super, super for real. But we got to talk about Devin Bush. For those of you who have not heard yet, have not seen the video clips, Bush was asked about his future with the Pittsburgh Steelers and, the whole 9. Can he sign? Is he worried about his next contract? Is he worried about the contract extension? Is he worried about declining the 5th-year option? Is he worried about competing with Robert Spillane for the starting job? And literally he said pretty much, nah, I don't really care to every single one of them. This is what he had to say about his future with the Steelers.
I feel like this is a make or break year for you. Kind of a last chance season for you. Do you feel like
Last chance for what?
to be here after having your option declined and that sort of thing?
Like a Steeler? I mean, it's the business.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna still be in the NFL, so we'll see.
I'm going to still be in the NFL, so we'll see. I don't know about you, but I took that pretty rough. What were your thoughts here on that one?
Gotta get this off my chest. The first part of what he said does not deserve any hate because this is a business. The Steelers are protecting themselves by not giving him that fifth-year option. Players need to protect themselves as well, so I have no problem with that. Pretty much the rest of what he said, though, especially like I'm still going to be in the NFL when there's a decent track record of first-round busts just flaming out of the league after they leave their first team. Especially after that preseason performance where he just looked like exactly like he did last year. That's not a compliment. I don't know, man. I get the business aspect of it for sure, 1,000%. He's asking for it, though. He is asking for every little bit of hate that he's going to receive after an offseason where he hasn't exactly done any favors for himself either, by the way.
No, zero favors for himself. And to walk in here, I rewatched the film against the Seahawks, and I don't think his 0 tackles, I think the stat book somewhere missed because I think he deserved at least 3 half tackles, which isn't a ton, but that's 3 tackles. I think he's getting more hate than he should have from that game. But to come out here and say that, like, you can't say anything else. You can't come up with, I'm still going to be in the NFL, so we'll see. And here's the thing. When Devin talked to us during minicamp, he said, well, I'm always going to be a top 10 pick. I got nothing to prove. I took that as, he's kind of ignoring the hate. He's ready to just put it all behind him and move forward. Now I look at this and go, this dude just doesn't care. Like, this dude just thinks he's the best because at one point he could have been the best. That's a terrible attitude to have. I think at this point it's all over. It's like there's no saving Devin Bush with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That was, I think, the icing on the cake for a lot of people because you see the injury. You saw how he played after the injury. Obviously not great, but there's always been kind of that hope of, okay, maybe it was just mental. Maybe, like Vince Williams said it best, like it takes you some legitimate time to really come back and be the player you were before those types of injuries. But more than anything else, like Steeler fans in particularly, they really value those guys feeling blessed, feeling honored to wear black and gold every Sunday. It's like, I can't explain it. It's like this feeling of being in the church with 67 other thousand people every Sunday. And you're supposed to be all part, of this just one giant cohesive unit. Steeler fans, you watch Troy Polamalu's speech, his induction speech into the Hall of Fame, where he talks about putting on that jersey and what that really, really means. Not just for the Steelers, not just for his teammates, but for the entire city of Pittsburgh. You watch that, and then you watch what Devin Bush said today. I can't blame these guys. I can't blame anybody for being incredibly pissed at Devin Bush right now.
No, you can't. You can't. Look it. You talk to a lot of players, okay? A lot. And they tell you about how hard they want to fight, how they want to stay. I remember talking to Mike Hilton right before he signed with the Cincinnati Bengals. And what he told me was, I love being a Pittsburgh Steeler. I love being a Pittsburgh Steeler. He probably said it 4 times. I don't think I've ever once heard Devin Bush say he loves being a Pittsburgh Steeler. Never once. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in him. But I know that he's on a bad path in the NFL. And a path that's scary because Devin Bush has talent. Is he going to ever live up to that talent? No. But I think Devin Bush is on a path where he doesn't start for the Steelers this year. He doesn't get re-signed next year. He ends up on another team. Maybe he plays a season or two, and then he fades into nothing like Jalen Smith did out of Dallas. He maybe signs with another team, and then they realize he doesn't have it either. But I think Devin Bush is on a fast track out of the NFL, and I think a lot of it starts with his attitude.
I think there's a difference because there's still players that just play football because it's a job, right? It's hard to convince people sometimes that like a lot of guys in the NFL don't really love the game of football, but it's a very well-paying job. They're very good at it, so they just kind of do it. I respect that 100%. But man, when you're battling for a starting spot, where you previously had it locked up, 2 years ago, there were no conversations of Devin Bush's future in Pittsburgh because he just looked so good.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't want to say it's a given, but I mean, like Robert Spillane kind of looks like the other starting linebacker next to Miles Jack for week 1, no?
I don't want to say
right
that.
now.
Yeah, I still don't want to say that. I don't think it's a guarantee by no means.
No guarantees. But like, if you had to pick somebody right now,
I think if the season started today, I'm not even confident to say yes there. I'm really not. Like Terrell Austin told Brooke Pryor today that if Devin Bush makes plays, he'll be the starter, and if he doesn't, he won't be the starter. In my head, that meant Devin Bush still needs to make some plays. I think Robert Spillane, you know what you're going to get off of him, and you also know that he's the hardest working dude in the locker room. Spillane was out on the field 45 minutes after practice today. You want to know where Devin Bush was? Nowhere to be found. I've never once seen Devin Bush be the last guy off the field. Never once. I see Spillane being it all the time. And like Spillane has his negatives. He's not great in pass coverage. He would operate best as a third inside linebacker. That contributed heavily. I think Robert Spillane would fit perfectly as that third linebacker. But if the season started today, I think that they might surprise us and put Spillane in there as the starter. I really, really do. I just think that, just like everybody else, Devin Bush's first-round pick is becoming older news by the day. And I think the coaches are looking at that too. Like, they're not going to let politics play a game anymore. And I think that's all that's left when it comes to Devin Bush is politics. Like, he was a first-round, or he was the 10th overall pick. You got to see what you get out of him. Well, maybe you don't let the position go to waste. And I think that's what they're starting to think, especially with Brian Flores.
Do you think Bush is kind of just over it at this point? Like he's so looking forward to the end of this year already, just to see if there's like a potential like fresh start he can find somewhere else.
Do I what? Can you repeat that?
No, do you think he's like over it at this point? Like he's just, if he could hit a fast forward button to the end of the year and move on to another team, do you think he would?
Yes, I do. Easy. Easy. I think he'd be gone tomorrow. I think that's what he's looking for. He just wants to be gone. But here's the question. Do you think it comes back? Like, do you think anywhere he'll go, he'll be happy? Like, I get that Pittsburgh Steelers fans have attached a negative label to Devin Bush. And like, that sucks, but it's deserved. Do you think that goes away with other teams? Or do you think that other teams, it's not like he's going to go there and be a superstar, right? Am I right?
He's not.
Exactly. Like, he's just going to go somewhere and be the exact same Devin Bush that he is now, and people are going to be upset about it, and then he's going to get bounced to the next team, and then the next team, and then the next team. Like, it's not like – and then on top of that, he's a PR nightmare when it comes to interviews. So, I mean, he's not going to be a fan favorite anywhere he goes. I think he doesn't see that, I don't think he realizes that he's doing any wrong. I think in his head, it's all, yeah, well, you know what? Whatever. Like, I don't care if people like me. It's like, well, bro, you should care if people like you. You should definitely care if the fans like you. That's how I look at it. Do you think Tomlin heard this interview? Do you think Tomlin cares? Do you think Tomlin heard that and cares?
No. If he did care, I can't imagine it shifting his opinion of Devin Bush significantly past like what he's able to see on the field and kind of gather in the locker room. Mike Tomlin has a better idea of Devin Bush than anybody, including you and I, watching or listening to his video right now, put together.
Yep.
That being said, I don't know, man. Tomlin's the type of guy to hear something and like he'll like keep it in the back of his head, but like he won't really say anything about it. You know, like he'll try to like use it to like help him progress. I guess. I have no idea where I'm going with this, but like I guess what I'm trying to say is that like Tomlin hears it, but he won't listen to it, I guess.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Just to touch on Roquan again. Do you think if you enter the season, okay? You enter the season and the inside linebacker play is the clear-cut gap on the defense. Like you desperately need an inside linebacker to solidify a dominant defense. Do you think they consider it?
I would like to apologize because last time we talked about Roquan Smith, I vastly underrated what it would take to get him. I was crazy low on the package it might take to get Roquan, and I do apologize for that. Trading for an inside linebacker nowadays and giving up a premium price tag for it in a modern NFL where like those guys just aren't super valued like they used to be. I don't know, man. I don't think so. I don't think they would pull the trigger on Roquan.
No, I agree. I don't think they would. I think that they'd fill any gap that they could. They'd utilize anybody that they could find.
You pick up the phone for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
See what it takes.
Yeah, you definitely make a phone call. I agree with that, but I don't think that phone call goes very far. Like, I don't think Chicago's like, oh, you're willing to offer a third and Devin Bush? We'll think about it. I think they're like, no, we're going to need 2 firsts. And you're like, well, we're not going to.
And also, like, if like somebody just pointed out in the chat, like, you're going to have to pay Roquan, too.
A lot of money. A lot.
Not that he doesn't deserve it.
No, but at that point, you're looking at way too many high-paid defenders on that team. Yeah. And I get that you have the money, but, like, at some point, you got to invest in your offensive line. You have to invest in a Larry Ogunjobi replacement after the season. Like there's so many holes that you cannot leave empty moving forward. Joe Schaubert's been brought up like 3 or 4 times. He signed with the Denver Broncos yesterday, so he's off the table, unfortunately. I don't know who else is out there, but I don't think
John Bostic, even though I think he just signed with the Saints either today or yesterday.
What's John Bostic doing that Robert Spillane can't do? Like,
nothing. Dude, they are like carbon copies of each other.
Exactly. Like you might as well just rock with Robert Spillane. That's what I mean. If there's not like a super athletic, like you're not going to find what you want Devin Bush to be on the open market.
Yeah.
If you at that point just put Marcus Allen in or move Terrell Edmonds down to the box and say, hopefully that works.
Dude, I wouldn't be upset at that.
I wouldn't either. But I could see that happening, but.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't think so now, especially with Carl Joseph being out for the year.
Yeah, but with DeMonte KZ, I think you could run a lot of 3 safety packages, even with Trey Norwood maybe. But I still don't like that's just not what the Steelers do. Like they're gonna try to rock 2 inside linebackers. I mean, they're the guys that use Robert Spillane in nickel packages.
Ugh.
And you're like, exactly. Like it just doesn't make sense, but in their head, that's what they're gonna do. So
love Spillane. The only dude I've ever seen stop Derrick Henry right in his tracks, especially at like the 1 yard line. But dude, anytime you see him out in coverage or you see like a running back running a wheel route, you're like sick.
Yep. I agree. And you're just like, wow, what's going on here? So it is what it is. You know, you're gonna walk into the season, you're gonna hope for the best, but I don't think it's gonna get solved. I think you're just gonna hope for the best with whoever you have rocking. All right. You want to give away a Minka Fitzpatrick jersey?
Dude, I would love to.
All right. So for everybody who wasn't here last week, you should have been here last week. Last Thursday, we said you got to comment #Minka jersey in the chat or the comments to win. I'd have Minka Pick a number between 1 and whatever. There was 85 entries. We appreciate every single one of you guys for jumping on. Donnie knows the winner. We got to see what number Minka picks. I talked to him today. I wish I brought the jersey with me. I told myself for a week now to bring the jersey with me, but it is what it is. It's at the crib. I'll make sure to get it out as soon as possible. There were 85 entries for a signed Minka Fitzpatrick jersey, and the number he picked was
85. So 1 through 85.
I'll go 17.
17.
17.
17. Donnie, please tell us our winner.
Mostos. I think that's how you pronounce the name.
Mostos.
He's a very much regular person in the chat, so always shout out to him.
Shout out Mostos. We appreciate you. I did tell Minka after the video ended, I was like, what are you, you're not going to pick 39? He's like, I was going to, but it'd be a little cliche. I was like, whoever's 39 is going to be very upset about that one. But shout out Mostos. We appreciate you. He actually hit me up a couple weeks ago. I think that he's starting a podcast, does a lot of TikTok work. So please go check all his stuff out. As always, slide my DMs on Twitter. Let me know your address. I will make sure I get it out to you immediately, and we'll move it up. So we got more jerseys coming. We got more giveaways coming. A lot going on. For the time being, congrats to Mostos. We're heading out of here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk live from the rainy St. Vincent College. We'll be here for the rest of the week. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk, and check out the All Steelers audio collection anywhere you get your podcast. As always, go use our promo code at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. Me and Donnie will be back on Thursday. Enjoy your night.